And yet, there they are.
Right.
There they are.
It's weird. This is Hairspray Holly. She does Ascending with Angels on our show.
Hi,
She
Holly.
reads angel cards.
I've been told I needed to meet you.
I'm happy to see you. So she's also a manifester. So some people manifest without even knowing that they do it. And those people are usually very upbeat, very happy with their lives. Mm-hmm. And so they come automatically from a place of happiness. So they don't even have to try. And I think that's the big difference.
Right. And the people around them look at them and they just kind of in awe. Like, how come all this good stuff keeps happening to them? Why is that? You know, and for people who don't understand the law of attraction, it makes no sense. It's like, I try so hard and I do so many things to try to manifest this, or they may not use that terminology, but to make this happen in my world, and I just keep getting, you know, shot down every turn. How come it's so easy for them? Why is it so easy for them? And with those attitudes, with that negativity attitude that it'll never happen, it'll never happen, it'll never happen, it'll never happen, then you're never going to manifest those things.
No, because you'll keep getting that negative stuff.
Exactly. You keep throwing it back. You don't realize you're throwing it back, but you're throwing it back. And the people who are positive and they put positivity out in the world, it comes back to them thousandfold.
And that's not to say that bad things never happen to them.
Oh, no.
But those are the very people that will mourn or be sad and then try to figure out what lesson they needed to learn from whatever happened.
We know that bad things happen to teach us things.
Right.
Those are trials and tribulations that we have to go through to ascend to a higher level and to become a better person and a better consciousness. So we know
it's
that
nothing
those are
to
good
do
things.
with being a victim.
No.
And that's the mistake that people make. The poor me victim mentality.
Yes.
And then they get into that spiral and boom.
And actually that kind of leads into what I'm going to discuss today. So I'm glad we're talking about this. Energy and having things affect you. Oh, I am just having a hard time with this today.
There. That makes me happy. Thank you.
Much better now. Thank you.
She was getting the hand signals galore.
I was. Did everybody?
This was a new one, though. This was... Pull the mic over to your face.
By golly, I understood it, though.
You did.
That was hillbilly mechanisms of the hand.
So before we change the subject, I'm going to read you something.
Oh, please.
Okay, where was it? I had it already. Okay. So if you pretend like you have a workshop in your mind, it's like a manifestation workshop. And so you're building what you want, right?
Mm-hmm. Some people do vision boards. Some people, journal. But yes, make it real for yourself.
Yep. So when you go into your workshop, you can begin assimilating data. And as you do, you will prepare a picture of yourself from which you will begin attracting into your experience the essence of that which has been pleasing you.
So, if you like something and you want something in your world, all you have to do is focus on it, send that energy out, and it will be attracted to you.
If you do it right.
If you do it right.
And you don't have anything pulling you the other way.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever hear that saying, I take 2 steps forward and 1 step back?
Yes. I feel that way occasionally.
I think we all do. It's because we're just not quite ready to get to where we really want to be. And who is it for us to judge why? It could be because we have another lesson that we're not ready to be in that place where we want to be. Mm-hmm. Or it could be that you have something negative tugging, holding you back. So you got to figure that out. Mm-hmm. If you ever get into that frame of mind, that's what you have to sit down and figure out.
Yes. And I do feel like sometimes we are our own worst enemy.
Yes.
And when you want to, I heard this the other day, and I've heard it before, but it's kind of a neat concept. When you want to do something and you want to be a leader and you want to put positive energy out there, a lot of times you find the downtrodden. And those people are attracted to
find
you.
you.
They find you
Yes.
because they're negative and they want to be positive. So they're drawn to your positivity. And, sometimes that's like an emotional vampire. It will suck you dry if you let it. And so people who are positive, they want to help these people. So they put themselves in the midst of this. But somebody said, and I don't know who it was, they were super brilliant.
It was probably me.
It probably was. But a couple times I've heard this, and every time I do, it resonates with me. We are the average. Our vibrational level is the average of the 5 people we hang out with most.
Right.
So if we're constantly surrounding ourselves by negative people, even if we're trying to bring them up, that's not what's going to happen.
Right.
What's going to happen is we're going to go down.
Sadly.
And it just is what it is. It's a law, I think, in human concept. It is a law of the universe that if we surround ourselves with negative people, we are going to be the mean average of those negative people eventually, because that's who we are feeding off of.
So unless we have a couple in there that we replenish with.
Yes, we need to recharge. We need to ground. We need to not give every single ounce and every single drop of everything we have to try to pull these other people up. That's not what God meant for us.
No.
We should lead by example. We shouldn't have to pull people up to us. They should see where we're at and see that we are happy most times. They should see in us something they want, and then they should try to rise to the occasion.
Do the work.
Do the work. We can't do the work for them.
Right.
So.
But, that's true if you think about it. If you're with somebody, just not talking vibrationally, but if you're with somebody that has a bunch of bad habits and you're like kids, for example, if they're around a bunch of kids that smoke, those kids might not ever say, here, have a cigarette. Here, eventually they're going to smoke.
Right.
If
they
you're
don't have
around
to say
somebody that has poor eating habits, it doesn't matter how good yours are. If you're around them enough, eventually
you're not going to make theirs better, probably.
Unfortunately.
Unless they're looking for that. If they're looking for that. And actually, that's a good segue for my friend Zulika, who is here. She is a coach for raw foods. She is a teacher. She teaches people raw foods, raw vegan foods, which is awesome. But they have searched her out. She's not going to the guy down the street, sitting at the diner, eating a greasy burger and saying, you know what? I think I can help you. No, she is there for the people who are searching for her, who are looking to bring themselves up, who are willing to do the work and are willing to train under an expert to be able to become what they want to be. But she's not going out trying to change everybody to vegans.
And she's not out telling everybody, you need to do this.
Right. I don't think that you are doing that.
Maybe after the show, that's what
she says. I used to. That didn't work so well, did it?
You want to become passionate and excited about something. You want to share it with everybody.
Right.
Absolutely.
No, you're right. You have to work with the willing.
You have to work with the
willing. I love that.
And as a coach, that's the only people who truly do the things that they like. I'll give them all the tools how to get to where they want to be. But if they're not willing, they never get there.
And you will get clients like that.
Yes.
Because I get patients in who they come in, they profess that they want to be healed. They profess that they want to get better. They tell me in words that they want to feel good, that they're sick of feeling sick and they want to feel good. And I go through what I do and I teach them what to do. And then they come back the next week and they say, you know what? I still feel the same. And then I say to them, well, did you change your diet the way we talked? Did you get the supplement that? Well, no.
Well, duh.
Okay. So what do you want from me? You want the miracle? Because that's going to cost you about $8,000. You got that? Because that's what I put the price tag on for me performing miracles.
But it can
Just
be
kidding.
done.
Just
It's
kidding.
just expensive.
Yeah. But the thing about it is, and I am kidding, but the thing about it is sometimes they think they want to get better, but there are things pulling them back that they don't even realize. Like, for example, I have had patients who have come in whose family goes out of their way to do everything for them because they're incapable. Or and I'm not saying they're pretending to be incapable. They're in pain. They're in pain. So their children do the dishes at home. So their children do the vacuuming at home. So their husband is at their beck and call, so that if they need something done, all they have to do is ask and it's taken care of for them because they're in pain. And that starts off beautifully, but that becomes an addiction. And then I tell them, you're going to be better in 3 visits. And then they start psyching themselves out and going, then what?
I have to do everything again.
Then I'll have to become a well person. And what does that look like? That looks to me like somebody who has to do work, somebody who has to actually do their own housework and take care of business, and because nobody's going to help me anymore to do this because they won't need to. Oh my goodness.
Right.
So they may not consciously do that and sabotage their own efforts, but they are doing it nevertheless, and they're sabotaging their own efforts. So they think they want to get well, but really they don't want to get well. They have decided internally, on a molecular level, that would probably not be a good thing for them,
right,
to get better, to get well, which is really weird. It's a really weird thing. Like, it's hard to imagine that somebody would want to stay sick, but this is on a subconscious level. They don't realize, but they do. They get stuck in this, and it becomes them. Their disease becomes them.
And it goes back to that manifestation too.
It's like, oh my gosh, if I got well, then what?
Right.
Then who would I be? Then what would I be? That would mean I would have to change. That would mean all the people who are around me would change how they deal with me. And that's overwhelming for some. It's easier to stay sick to some people.
Which is sad.
It is sad. But yeah.
So what were you going to talk about today? Is that it?
Kind of.
Okay.
I am going to talk about today pains that we feel that could or can be associated with emotional burdens, emotions. Okay. Yeah. So when you were talking about that and people holding on to this negativity and these different traumas in their lives and, things that they do, they actually can manifest in certain ways, in certain pain patterns in the body, which is super interesting. It's not cool because it really kind of stinks, but it's super interesting. So my husband, who is great at finding these super appropriate articles for me to look at and to post on my group page, Bay City Alternative and Holistic Health Community, I post these things after I read them, of course, and if it resonates with me, but he always finds like the most interesting articles. So this article that he found was about pains in the body and what emotions are associated with those kinds of pains, according to this author, which I find very interesting and I do agree with to a certain extent. So I'm going to run through a few of them.
Okay.
First of all, in Chinese medicine, right side of the body is anger against other people. If you hold pain on the right side, it tends to be anger or frustration with someone else. If it's on the left side of the body, it tends to be anger and frustration with oneself. So guilt, like things that you feel you should have done and you didn't, or things you think you shouldn't have done and you did, and you hold resentment against yourself, that will manifest on the left side of the body. So that's interesting. But then going further than that, this article talks about a pain in the neck. If you have a pain in the neck, and it's kind of around the base of the neck, that's usually trouble forgiving others. That means that you have hurts, issues, angers, frustrations towards other people, and you are holding them in. You are not good at forgiving those people or those situations. And that is only harming yourself. So we don't want to harm ourselves.
No.
We don't want to manifest pain in ourselves. So letting go of that anger is what's super important. But people don't realize that. So a pain in your neck